Today on the channel, it's the Childhood Trauma Pack, Ironhide and Prowl, Studio Series 86.24 and 20 through the Buzzworthy Bumblebee line. One way I got it figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? The way I got it figured back with another Studio Series 86 Buzzworthy Bumblebee Transformers Generation review. This time we're looking at the Transformers the movie 86.24 Ironhide and Transformers the movie 86.20 Prowl. These figures are Target exclusive, but you can get them also on Hasbro Pulse. There was a pre-order available. So, you know, I got mine that way, and here we go. So there's a lot going on with this set. This is the first time in even in Studio Series 86 where essentially you get dead Autobots. Ironhide and Prowl meet their ends on the Autobot shuttle in the very beginning of Transformers the movie. And these are those figures, and they are re-releases, redecos, and slight retools in both counts of the Ironhide Studio Series 86 number 17 Ironhide and the Earthrise Autobot Alliance Prowl. So, you know, that's the basis of these figures. They do have like some deco changes, like the instead of clear plastic, this is all hard plastic, which makes for a more durable figure, especially in Prowl's case. And you know, there's blast effect ports that allow you to recreate the gruesome deaths of the characters. And that's pretty much what's going on here. The novelty of the characters being, you know, killed off versions of themselves, which, you know, caused a lot of trauma back in the day, 1986, wasn't the reason that I personally got this set. The reason I really got this set was because I wanted the Prowl. So Ironhide gets top billing because he's a Voyager or guest, or maybe even just because he's Ironhide, but it's Prowl that gets the top billing for me, and the reason why is because he's much closer to his animation model, which I'll show here, and it gives me the opportunity to make him even closer to his animation model with some modifications to the Earthrise version of the figure. The Ironhide is almost kind of a bonus. He does have a new head sculpt in addition to his blown out chest. And you can see here there's like a blast effect port, and they come with blast effects, of course. There's always that, so you can just kind of stick a blast effect in there. And I don't know, you know, necessarily that this is the appropriate blast effect to stick in there, but it is. Also on the show, the Decepticons had, you know, purple blasts, so it's nice that they made purple blast effects for that. Their weapons are also blast effect compatible, so, you know, Ironhide could be shooting a purple blast effect or, you know, another color blast effect, but, you know, he can do that. As can Prowl. Now for this video, I'm not going to transform them because, well, one, there's a whole video for Ironhide, which I have a link to in the description for the Studio Series 86. Transformations are the same. Everything's the same except for the decos. And of course, I am going to compare them with their previous versions so you can see the difference there. So starting with Ironhide, like I said, everything is unchanged from the earlier Studio Series 86 version, except for his chest and his head. Although, you know, his face is painted a different color, just in terms of the mold, it's the same mold. But Ironhide has the red is different, so it's also, you know, it's slightly different red. So just to bring in Studio Series 86 number 17, we have Ironhide with a straight face and Ironhide with a screaming face, or, you know, whatever you want to call that. The other thing is, you can see it here, that unlike the earlier figure, they did paint the yellow stripes into the Cherry Vanette mode. So just to fold this out a little bit, since I'm not going to fully transform them, you can see that the yellow is there. It's a non-factor to me as to which red, you know, I like better. The unfortunate thing is that because of the, you know, gang molding process, it's like it'd be exceedingly difficult to, well, I don't even know why you would do it. So, you know, you're never going to get an Ironhide with the, well, let's never say never, it's Hasbro, but it's unlikely that you'll get a redone Ironhide with a solid window. We already know that Ratchet is coming and he's gonna not have a solid window either. So, you know, I would actually expect yet another 2-pack with Ironhide with Brawn and Ratchet, where they're getting shot up. I would be highly surprised. I would be surprised if they didn't at this point. Then bringing in Prowl. So he is, as I said, in terms of the colors, he's actually much closer to his animation model than the previous figure, who I'll also bring in for comparison here in a sec. With the doors with the police signs on them rather than saying police on the door, and the gray coloring on his legs and midsection, it's much more akin to the animation model. Then the head is actually Prowl's head and not Blue Streak's head, and of course that's welcome. You know, you want Prowl to have his own face, but this face is sort of like the surprise shock face of getting blown away by Scavenger. You can stick a blast effect on there. So there you go. So give me 1 second and I will bring in Prowl from Earthrise. Okay, so I've got Earthrise Prowl here, and this is the figure as compared to the Buzzworthy Bumblebee version. You can probably tell that the head is different. That's because I have a Siege head on mine. As I explained in the top 10 Earthrise video I did, why I did that. But here is the head that the Earthrise Prowl actually comes with, which is a blue streak head. It's not Prowl, and that kind of bothers me, being that Prowl is one of my favorites. Not that blue streak isn't. So here's blue streak. This is my son's copy where he lost the rocket launchers, but he was handy, so I grabbed him. So that's blue streak's head. So in Siege you got Prowl's head and Smokescreen's head, and in Earthrise you got Smokescreen's head and blue streak's head. So there you go. There, that's why that is. So essentially what I intend to do is make one super Prowl out of both of these figures. And how I'm going to do that is, well, there's a couple ways you can do it. So you can go full on and remove the pins. So there's pins here, there's a pin here, and underneath the hood there's another pin. You can remove that, keep the leg, keep the arms the same, just take the top sections off, swap them, so that you can have the gray midsection. Or you can sort of do it the lazy way, and their bottom section is actually just on a peg, so you can just remove them from the peg. Swap the legs. And honestly, now that I'm looking at it like that, you might not need to do any more than that. Now, that's going to cover you in robot mode. So, as you can see, yeah, so it'd be completely on animation model to have the gray midsection here, but it looks close enough with the legs. Honestly, I could probably live with that. But Hasbro was nice enough on the Buzzworthy Bumblebee version to paint the wheels, whereas on the Earthrise version they did not. So should you want to transform them into vehicle mode, you can do it. Obviously it's the same figure, but when you transform them, the front wheels are not going to have hubcaps painted like they are on the Earthrise version, as you can see here. But because they're on a mushroom peg, you can just kind of pull the wheels off and switch them. So you can do that too. And I might just do that, just because, you know, dealing with pins is it's not the best. Now, one thing I do want to add is that because this is all solid plastic, this figure is much heavier than this figure, and he still is, really, because all of this is solid plastic up here. So, you know, it's a much more, the second version is a much more sturdy figure, technically speaking. So it looks like I'm just doing it right now. So to complete the look, at least in robot mode for the time being, my son gets the doors off all the time on his copies. I don't know I've never tried to remove mine. You just pull the door off. Put it back on here. And place it there. And now, other than the translucent hood, you have a on-model Prowl figure. And this way is less invasive. You can do a permanent, you can definitely do a permanent deal by removing the pins here. But, removing pins is something that is not for the weak of heart. Definitely not for the faint of heart. Now, what you're losing out on, which also there are pins holding these feet onto, is that the Earthrise version does have the painted details here. But you can always, get some toy hacks, which I'm sure are coming, or you could just use the toy hacks for this Prowl that they already did. But with these changes, you get a much more on-model Prowl. The only thing you're not getting is the gray midsection, and honestly, for the trouble that it's worth to get it, it's probably just more worthwhile to just do this. So there you go. Now just replace the pieces on this one, for no other reason than to not have them get lost, because this figure was never going to get used, was never going to get displayed. On your shelf, everybody lives forever, so I don't really need a dead Prowl other than to cannibalize him for his parts. So there you go. I guess I'm just gonna be happy with that. Maybe one day I'll decide to mess with the pins, but honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. This looks well and good enough. Go ahead and put his gun in his right hand. And there's that. All right, so I'm going to move on to final thoughts. All right, final thoughts on the Studio Series 86 Childhood Trauma Pack, Ironhide and Prowl. Honestly, would I say that this is mandatory? I would say yes and no. What makes it potentially mandatory is if you don't have Prowl from Earthrise, then this is Prowl. This is Prowl for you. What's beneficial about that is this figure is much more durable than the Earthrise figure. A lot of people complain that theirs were breaking. Obviously mine isn't broken. I take care of my things, but the translucent plastic can get brittle. So if you're not keeping it properly, or you're rough or whatever. I don't know. Many things that could cause it to break. But this figure is like a full solid plastic, so it's just sturdier. It just is. So there's that benefit. If you have Ironhide, like I already do you really need an Ironhide getting shot up? Not really. I mean, I guess it's nice. It's nice for me for stop motion stuff. But in terms of like just owning one, I wouldn't say, well, if you don't have the other Ironhide, then get this one, because you can probably still get the other Ironhide. For a while, he was even clogging up shelves, you know, to an extent. Never seriously like Coronation Starscream or even Sludge at this point. But they were around. It wasn't an impossible figure to get. So, you know, you might need it. If you have Prowl already, then you don't need it. If you have Ironhide and Prowl already, you doubly don't need it. Unless, you know, Transformers is just your thing, you just feel like you gotta have it. That's different than need. So I would say yes and no. As far as where I got a figure rank, as a set, I'm gonna give them an 8. I think they're decent figures, especially Prowl's increased durability. The van on Ironhide would be better because it has the yellow stripe, except that when you transform it, that's the front of the van. So putting the yellow stripe on it doesn't really help you all that much, when they could have just put the yellow stripe on the other one. And I'm guessing the reason that they didn't is because all of this is like gang molded clear plastic, and maybe they were worried the paint wasn't going to stay on there. I don't know. I don't know. That seems like a distinct possibility as to why they didn't. I don't know. But if they were to make another Ironhide that was all solid without the blasted windshield, then I don't know. Maybe I would feel like I need to get it. So I'm going to give them an 8. It's 2, you know, super popular OG Autobots that everybody wants in their collection. Even if they're not their favorite characters, they do happen to be favorites of mine, so I was always going to get them. But my intention definitely always was to complete the Prowl that you see in front of you right now. So mission accomplished. Didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this video. At the end of the video, I do have a special little thing I cooked up, and it's long past overdue. Please don't laugh too hard. It's my first one, and well, hopefully by far not my last. So thank you. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you haven't. If you have already done those things, or if you've already subscribed, obviously leave a comment. Especially let me know what you think about the little surprise at the end. Until next time, everybody stay safe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.
The way I got it figured.
No! Such heroic nonsense.